Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Podcast, episode 161. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Eric.
How's it going?
And with us for this special episode is my lovely wife, Jenny.
Hello.
First of all, I would like to thank everybody for going over and watching our April Fool's episode last week on Sully Singleton. We're recording this on April 1st, and April is the highest month of view count for Sully Singleton in its history. I will repeat, it is April 1st.
That's still pretty wild, yeah. But I think we're back to regularly scheduled timing for Warhammer for a bit.
Yeah, everything should be back to normal now. No more random all-nighters for Borrelio to get out a special episode. He was ready to retire after that.
He's got plenty of time for this episode, though, so it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, against character, we're recording early for once. But enough chit-chat. On today's episode, we have an important review. We're going to be reviewing the Goblin Hobbies Stampin Plates. And also, we're going to talk about how the technology seems to work and the influence from the nails industry of all places and the general effect it'll have on hobbying for us.
Sounds good. All right, before we actually get into stuff, we've got the normal disclaimer up front. This is not a sponsorship, but we did get the Stampin' Kit for free from Goblin Hobbies, but under no obligation whatsoever to do anything or to review it at all. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. We were just given it.
Yeah, we asked for it and begged a little bit, but we did get it for free, and you would not. So we're putting that in our review. Things should be free.
Yes.
But we did, to defend Goblin Hobbies real quick, we did say hey, we're not going to pull punches on this review. You might not like it. And they said they don't care. So if that's their response to it, I'm happy to review it for them.
Yeah, so this kind of all started several months back when we kind of heard about this whole stamping technology that they were super excited about for using on our Army painting collab video with, Casey and Brent had the guard that they painted up, and we were like, how'd you do some of that stuff? And they're like, oh, you'll find out soon. And so since then it's kind of been, we're interested, but let's actually see if we can do it, because you guys are legit painters. I'm skeptical.
Right. So we asked them to send us over testers for it. They sent us the entire first lineup of the collection so we can test everything.
Yeah.
But they sent it over to us, gave us a nice little note with a bunch of instructions on it. We promptly threw that aside.
I think I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, but we thought it was more true to being a normal end user if we just didn't read the instructions and went by gut instead of following any sort of direction or warning labels or anything like that.
It was really for the content here. It wasn't just because we're lazy bastards that didn't want to read anything.
Yeah, which we will cover in depth when we get to the actual review. But for now, as for what the stamping plates actually are, Stampin Plates. I'm going to call them stamping plates because I'm tired of doing the apostrophe. They're basically the equivalent of a decal or freehanding a logo on your model, but this uses a paint, which is actually nail polish more or less. It uses a paint on a laser engraved metal plate that you then use a silicone pad to roll over to pick it up and then roll over your model to place it on the model. The paint then dries extremely quickly and is then dry paint just like the rest of your model and is, as scratch resistant as all your other paint.
Yeah, so it's, like you said, an alternative to a decal or freehand. Decals are decals and freehanding is just fucking insane.
Yes.
So to have the potential of an alternative to still getting something that would look nice afterwards is interesting.
So yeah, the actual how-to for it at its most simple is just apply paint to the metal, then you swipe a plastic card to completely fill in the recess in the metal of the shape you want and to wipe the excess away over that area so it's only in the recess. Then you take your stamper, you roll it over it, and then you roll it over the model. That's all you do at its most simple. It is harder than it sounds, but it is still easy.
Dude, it's so easy at its fundamentals, but there are some tricks, and then there's still art involved to put it on correctly. There are some skills afterwards, but fundamentally super easy, right?
Yeah.
We would never screw anything up because it's that easy.
So let me tell you all about how we fucked up.
Hey, it's Story time.
Get your popcorn, kids.
Yeah. So first of all, these are not magic. They do not just work out of the box perfectly, no reading, no instructions required.
At least not for us.
No. We did know going in, like we weren't true idiots about it. We knew we needed acetone to clean up between each application of the stamp. Like we were told that in advance. Every time you do a stamp, you clean off your metal plate, and then after you've cleaned off the acetone, you put on the next stamp.
Yeah, and we were told that like the paint is basically like nail polish.
Yeah. So we went out and bought some nail polish remover. This will come back. And we even went out of our way. We bought makeup pads, which, well, technically we already owned them, but we pretend we bought makeup pads, which are used to apply the acetone and clean off the paint. They're very useful. If you do like any oil painting, you already know how great this is, but makeup pads must have. Just in general when hobbying, we use them a lot.
Generally super useful for painting.
And then we also had Scotch tape in the house, which we didn't know right away that we needed. So with all of that, in addition to what came in the mail to us, we were ready to go.
So yeah, I guess on that, a quick overview of like what we got was the like starter kit, which had 2 of the plates, 2 paints, the like circular stamping pad.
Yeah, the like double-sided circular one with like a big side and a little side.
And then like, I don't know, like the scrapers and like whatever. And then we also got the other 2 paints and the rest of the stamp pads, plates, whatever.
Yeah, and the rectangle stamping pad.
And I think there's also like a tape silicone stamping thing. That's probably with the piece of paper somewhere.
We got that?
Yeah, I think so.
I was gonna go to actually buy one of those because I saw it in their instruction video and I was like, oh, they didn't send us one of these.
No, I'm pretty sure it's in the box that I've brought over every time.
It also comes with a little logoed plastic card that you can use to swipe off the paint. Not that that's like super important. Any flat piece of plastic like a credit card works, but like...
But it's the right size. Like, it's just convenient. Like, it works well. We also got 2 of the, like, mascots or whatever.
So we threw the note aside that they gave us. It was a very nice note. They gave us, like, full instructions and told us where to go online to watch their secret video that wasn't out yet. All the things that we could want. Threw it aside because we were being a normal consumer. Here's how long it took to completely destroy everything they gave us.
1 afternoon.
Not even. It was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, an hour if I'm being generous.
So, first of all...
You guys are fucking animals.
Yes. We learned after complaining that it was doing a really bad job of picking up and placing the stamps.
So picking up from the plate onto the, like, silicone pad.
Yeah, and then placing them on the model. It was doing a really bad job at the first half of this. We found out that everything is covered in a release agent, which honestly, I just should have guessed it's normal manufacturing.
I feel like an idiot for not immediately thinking of that as well, but like, hey, whatever.
But I'm going to assume most people in our audience are not aware that basically everything comes with a thin releasing agent over it to get it out of molds and stuff. But the point is, you should wash all of the stuff you get, even though it's got like a peel off thing over it and it's in a nice little baggie, you still have to wash it in soap and water first. It gets the release agent off so that you can actually use it properly. So we didn't do that. What we did do was we cleaned everything with acetone, which is nail polish remover, but nail polish remover has a couple little add-ins to it.
Sometimes. Ours did.
Yeah, so we cleaned everything with that.
So we cleaned the plate, we cleaned the silicone pads, we cleaned fucking everything with our nail polish remover. It was great.
Silicone, for those unaware, gets eaten by acetone and becomes cloudy. So the nice clear silicone pads you're supposed to stare through to like line up your shot when you're placing it was now completely fogged and you could not see through it. It looks like it's, you know, like an ice cube.
The plates were not very clean. It sort of worked.
But we found that we were getting we would put the red on and then after cleaning it with our nail polish remover, we would get red in all the crevices and some of the detail would be eaten away when we went to do repeats. Like all the thin detail was like having trouble picking up from then on out.
It was most noticeable with the red. The other ones were happening as well, but the red was like, oh, it's still dirty. Clearly.
So that was strange.
And then while we were trying to clean the silicone pad, use the nail polish remover on it a little bit. Oh, it's fogged. Oh no. Then what'd you do, Brad?
I wiped it with a paper towel, as you would, right? That's how you dry something off. You wipe it with a paper towel.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that if you wipe silicone with a paper towel, you turn it into a disgusting mess of frayed silicone?
Dude, it's like, it looks like sandpaper was taken to it.
Yeah, sandpaper is the perfect example of what it looks like after.
It's wild.
It destroyed the surface area. So now we had fucked up pads that you couldn't see through and also couldn't do a clean stamp because they were all rough.
Yeah, like actual abrasions and like splits. Not great.
And all the details were screwed up on the actual stamping plates. So we were like, all right, I guess we got scammed.
All right, guys, you're gonna have some messages.
Except I generally believed that Brent and Casey wouldn't just randomly scam us, especially if they said we had carte blanche to review them. So we decided to read the notepad.
Yeah, it said a couple things.
1, only use pure acetone. Oops. So I talked to Brent the following day to like check up with him, and he explained to me, as the chemical engineer, that the special stuff that they put in nail polish remover that is not acetone to keep it from drying out your fingers, that stuff will basically cake the plate and seal in the red specifically was really easy to see, but seal in the paint on the plate and slowly over time ruin the details. So rubbing it with pure acetone would fix that issue.
Because it's like trying to keep moisture in.
Your stamping plate does not need vitamin E.
Yeah, it does not. It doesn't have stretch marks.
Luckily, those stamp plates are like actually made out of metal and like you really can't fuck them up. So like we were still fine on that aspect.
Yeah, so we did solve the stamping plates immediately by going out, buying pure acetone, and then throwing that on makeup pads and just wiping them all off. And it was so quick to fix them.
It was instant. It was wild. Like I said, like some of them that we had used the white and the black on, you could see a little bit of like leftover residue and stuff like that, and like cleaned it up and it was like, okay, yeah. Got to the red one, I was like, oh, this is pretty nasty. Put it on, basically just wiped it off, and it was all gone. Like one wipe with the acetone. And I continued to rub it down just to make sure, but it was like, it was wild.
We also got to read the instruction to not put acetone on the pad and to wash the pad before using it for the first time.
So on that, you can put a little bit of acetone on it. I would suggest you don't, just because like what's a little bit, but like if it happens to get some on it, it's not immediately going to fog, but like actually cleaning it like we were was wrong.
Yeah.
Very much, especially the using paper towel to then
Yeah, also not rubbing the silicone. Nice tip there.
yeah, more of a dab to dry it off if you're gonna do it.
One of the other things when we were doing these first tests, we did have successful stamps. Like, we're telling you how we screwed everything up, but we did have successes. I posted some of them on my Blue Sky and all that. We'll have them on the episode for visuals. There were successes.
And like they looked pretty solid.
Yeah, it was just frustrating because it was like 3 or 4 failures a pop before we would get one to work, until somebody in the basement walked over and went like 4 for 5 on her first tests.
What's up?
At which point we realized that this is something where having practice probably helps a lot.
I have never stamped my nails before in my life.
But you have applied more nail polish than we have, and you were being less aggressive with the swiping and a whole lot of other stuff.
Yes, but I have never stamped my nails before in my life.
You also were the one who told us how quick we have to be.
That is the one thing that you guys were truly fucking up.
Yes.
These are fast. Like, you do not have time to fiddle about. And I think if everybody had not been trying it all at once, it might have been easier. But because you guys were all like trying to share everything, I think that was not helping your testing, to be fair.
At times it felt like we were being pretty quick. Like we were trying, but it would be like 30, 45 seconds quick, not like 10, 15.
No, you ain't got that kind of time. In and out.
Yeah. So for some quick how not to screw up tips. Number 1, go watch a proper tutorial on how to do this before you do it. For real. They've got a great one that they hosted on their new Goblin Hobbies channel. If you're going to buy these, spend 3 minutes of your life watching a tutorial on how to do it all.
Honestly, it's just the easiest way at the moment, especially that it just works. Just watch it. It's worth the time.
Number 2, use 100% acetone. Do not use anything that is not 100% acetone. Number 3, stamping plates get acetone on them while the pad gets soap and water. One-time wash to get everything all set up before you start. And then you do the acetone normally between every stamping on the plate itself.
Yeah, and to clean the silicone stamp between uses, you just use a piece of Scotch tape and it'll take off any of the residual paints.
Which is the other thing, you need Scotch tape. We just had some in the house, as most people probably do. I'm sure in England this is called like squiggly wiggly tape or something stupid, but it's called Scotch tape. It's the clear tape that you use for every normal task.
Yeah, isn't like super duper sticky to like rip it apart.
Not packing tape, not masking tape, just Scotch tape.
But what we actually ended up doing on our successful one, by the way, is wrapping it sticky side out around a finger to make a ring, and then placing it down and then picking it up with your finger in the middle of the ring and using it like an adhesive ring when you needed to use it. Very easy to do, very useful. You'll see it in our good footage later.
Yeah, and related to what Jenny was bringing up about we were taking too long, really you do need to have like a clean station essentially set up with like, you got all the things laid out in front of you, you know where they all are, and you have a plan in action of step 1, and then when I'm done with that, where does the things go to get to step 2? None of the guesswork.
I think Brad's biggest problem is that when you swipe the plastic card over the stamping plate, you are removing the extra nail polish, or I guess stamping ink, but that extra is going to end up on your plastic card. And Brad was like staring at it and then trying to find somewhere to put it down so that it wasn't getting everywhere, and then trying to figure out where the stamper was, and then it just... Like, yeah, I think you need a space. You need somewhere to put everything and just...
And to know that, like...
This can just go anywhere on here because it's just paper towel or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, grab a bunch of paper towel, put some there just to have so you can toss things that have paint on it onto the paper towel without worry.
Get a silicone mat or whatever, yeah. But, like, Brad was trying to find somewhere to put it down, and then he was trying... You don't have time for that. Once you swipe it, you do not have time for that.
Yeah, on the time standpoint, for normal hobby stuff, you tend to be of the mindset of like, a pro can just swipe their brush over the model and paint this perfectly in a tutorial in 2 seconds. It takes me like 5 minutes. That's not how these work. You have maybe 5 to 10 seconds of working time. You can't do something and just be slower at it. It just does not work if you're slow. You have to have everything set up so that you go boom, 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 boom.
You have 5 to 10 seconds of working time from when you swipe the extra off the plate to when you put it on the silicone pad.
Correct.
Once it's on the pad, you have time to line it up properly on your model and look at it and adjust it. You're not like having to like instantaneously stamp your model at the same time. Once it's on the silicone pad, you have time for fiddling around.
You've got another good 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah, realistically, you've got like 30 seconds from our testing of random nail polishes. One of them just refused to work. We'll get into that. But in most cases, you've got about 30 seconds after it's on the pad to get the other stuff off the pad that you didn't want on there with some Scotch tape. Just roll it over to suck up any of the symbols you don't want on it, and then to line up and place it on your model nice and clean with a good roll. So you have a very short working time. That is something to be aware of when you're using this stuff.
And once you have, you know, your proper station set up and you've done it a couple times and you understand the process, it is quick. It is like, it's actually easy once you know how to do it, as annoying as that phrase can be. So you don't have like, it isn't impossible to do things quickly once you've figured it out.
Yes, when everything is set up and you have instruction, it is so easy to do that your elderly mother could do it. Okay, calling my mom elderly is going to get me beaten. So let's say your young at heart mother could do it.
Saved it.
That's not better.
Hi, Mom. I know you definitely watched this episode. I don't want to get beaten. So on the second weekend, when we had all of our new stuff that we'll get into in a bit here, my mom stopped by because she and Jenny were going to go out shopping. And since she stopped by, we asked her if she would like to do her nails. So we had her sit down at our little test area and we recorded as she, with just instructions from us on how to do it, apply the designs from the stamping plate to her fingernails, and she did a really decent success rate, just like Jenny did, of, I want to say she went almost 5 for 5. She had like 2 screw ups on all of her fingers that she did.
Yeah, there were a couple that, it wasn't completely perfect, or it wasn't like in the spot that was intended, but like the first one worked. Second one was actually really good. And from there, it was generally success overall, and like pretty quick too. We didn't spend, like 10 minutes like walking and guiding her through it. It was like a couple minutes of like, hey, do this, go.
It's shockingly easy. Like, she was testing out paint colors and everything. And I will say, on the not perfect stamps, might upset people of like, oh, I don't want to stamp this on and have it be screwed up on my model. We found that you can repair it really easily. So if you keep that ring of Scotch tape with you when you're applying to the model, I also recommend keeping a brush or like I had like a plastic card stick that was like a sculpting tool for putting on basing material, right? Those were laying around. And when you apply from the pad to the model and you do the roll, you can have like partial transfers where like it partly comes off and then like the paint kind of like folds back on itself.
It's kind of peeling away.
Yeah, or like starts peeling off the model. You've got 2 options depending on how screwed up it looks. Number 1, you could pat it down with a brush or a piece of plastic card or whatever to get it to like fall down correctly and apply. That worked several times when it screwed up for us.
That one's more useful when it's just like an edge is slightly peeled up on the design, or like, something like that it's like, oh, it'll just fold into place and it'll look good.
Yeah. Or if it's really screwed up, grab your Scotch tape and roll it over the model. It will pick up the transfer while it's still wet for that like seconds.
Yeah, this one you have to be very quick with. It's like once it's on and you recognize it's not right, you have to immediately try and get the tape to take it off, because
But like, it's the same way as when you screw up with paint and to instantly drop the brush, fill it with water, get it on there, like to clean it off. Like, it's not a panic moment, but it's a quick action moment for anyone who's done hobby. I've shown it in like our airbrush video rip, or several other times when you see a mistake and you just know like within seconds you will have water over that screwed up paint. This is the same of grabbing the Scotch tape and rolling it over the model real quick.
But yeah, if you're quick enough with it, it will basically stick back onto the tape and pull from the model. But if you're not quick enough, it's paint, and once it's actually on, it's on.
Yeah, and it will dry and look like the rest of your paint and just be there. So now you just have to paint over it again.
Yeah, now it's like normal of you painted incorrectly with a brush. Just have to start with that expectation.
Hope you didn't stamp black onto your white.
Yeah, but you do have a potential to fix those kinds of things.
Yeah, so great success for having someone completely new try it out. Really happy that my mom humored us with that.
It honestly seemed like she was kind of having some fun with it as well.
Yeah, there's a reason that we'll get into in a bit here. But real quick, let's compare the difficulty to decals and freehands and the pros and cons between them all.
All right, so like everybody knows freehand is going to be the best, but it's also the most bullshit.
Freehand is also a non-starter for most people of, yeah, but I'm not that fucking good. Because like, I used the stamping pad to apply a chaos octet to my chaos knight, right? Like, that was one of our test ones. And it slightly screwed up. One of the arrows didn't completely stamp on. And I have the skill level to at least get out some Vallejo model color black, thin it, get it on a small brush, and clean up one line. I can do that. But I could never freehand the chaos octet.
Yeah, because like there's the expectation that the different sides are going to be symmetrical, right? It's not going to be like, oh, the east facing one is fucking longer than the rest. Shit. Freehand is just, yeah, like you said, it's kind of a non-starter. It's so difficult. And you have to have so much practice to have the consistency to not fear fucking up the rest of your model.
Real quick before I forget, while I'm talking about what I just did, do not use the nail polish ink, whatever you want to call it. Do not use that on a brush attempting to clean up a line. As Jenny told me too late after I had applied it to a brush, it is not like an acrylic paint and it will eat the fuck out of that brush and turn it into a mess. You're not going to get a nice fine point to real quickly clean up your line. Go find a normal acrylic paint you would use to get a color match and just color match it. In this case, the black matched Vallejo model color black perfectly, so I just grabbed that.
You can use a brush with nail polish. I know they make specific ones for nail polish. I just wouldn't expect to be able to use it on anything other than nail polish after you're done.
And I imagine that there's like some nail polishes that are going to take to that technique better than others.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But anyway, back to the actual discussion at hand. Versus decals. There's a pro and a con.
I hate decals. Decals look like decals always. They always look like there's a sticker or a stamp or something put on the thing.
I agree with you, Eric. 100%. We tried doing decals on the Votan army. And we even used microset and microsol and did everything by the books. Did the whole try to eat it with to like decay the plasticky look. And then I used a matte varnish over everything to try to further hide it and blend it into the paint. And you can still, when you get the light on it just right, see it.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing is like having that matte varnish afterwards that you did helped a lot. It looks pretty decent from some angles, but then the light hits it and you're like, fucking decal.
Yeah. So major negative to decals that the stamps just don't have because it ends up as just another paint. It looks like you freehanded it.
It's also not like decals are like super easy. Like they do require some amount of effort. It's not just like, you know, a freebie kind of thing. It takes at least as much effort as this.
I agree. I actually think decals versus these, decals are easier to get your very first fucked up result. These are much easier to get your first like true good result and then repeat it 100 times.
Yeah, I'm expecting that like once you have the process down, this is so much easier to repeat over and over again.
However, there is one boon to decals, officially speaking. We'll get into something in a minute. Decals can have what we'll call the IP advantage or IP defense. These stamping plates are not made by Games Workshop. So if you want the actual Salamander's dragon head exact geometry from a GW art, you can't have it with the stamp. You have to go get a decal.
Or freehand it.
Or freehand it. Good luck. So in that one way, if you're like super anal about your first founding chapter having the exact correct iconography, then some of them might be shit out of luck. Ultramarines, stuff like that are really easy because you can't copyright the Ultramarines toilet because it's just a Greek letter.
I mean, to be fair, there are legally distinct versions of a lot of these things on the plates, but they're not the exact.
Yeah, the Chaos Octet is also not GW's design, so that one's an easy one. Like, there are ones you'll see and you'll be like, oh, cool, that's a symbol that I know from 40K. That's awesome. There's just certain ones that you know are going to be copyrighted and they can't use those. You could try making them through combining stamps by stamping multiple times and getting them lined up right to make a new shape. Jenny, when you did some tests, you did that.
I did. I was stamping on my nails because it's funny. And like you can layer them. That's why like the silicone pad is clear. So when you look through it, you can line up, you know, what you're stamping. And like if you layer stuff, you can look through and make sure it's in the right spot. So I just give it like, I don't know, maybe a minute to dry before you put the next one on. Like if you're going to layer them. And I mean, if you're going to try and use designs that are close to each other on a plate, you just want to make sure that you've cleaned it off. So like if you wanted one red and one green, you don't have red in the spot you wanted green. And then it's a huge mess.
But yeah, the layering also gives you a lot of power to have multicolored symbols, which is something that we didn't really play with much in our testing other than Jenny doing it. I think you did one on one spot, Eric.
Yeah, just as like testing, but a lot of what I did was not like trying to finish a model. It was just trying out the stamps on like models that are going to be fucking primed over again.
I bet you could get some really cool designs on shoulder pads. You could do the hazard stripes and then put the orc logo on top and it would look really cool.
Yeah, I think that all of that layering aspect is something that really enhances the possibilities beyond what decals give you an option of.
Yeah, I will say for those wondering, I did a quick review of the stamping pads and I'm pretty sure every major Space Marine faction, I could point to one and go, that is this Space Marine iconography or close enough that I understand if it's on a green model, I would believe that's a salamander. But like I saw it for all of the major ones, Ultramarines, Imperial Fists, Black Templars, you name it, we saw it. There was like 3 for Blood Angels.
Yeah, and they also just have a bunch of like more generic theming.
But we have been putting this off long enough. The reason Jenny was more experienced with how much speed we needed and knew all of this is because this is not new technology by any means. All of the technology that these stamping plates use come from the nail industry.
I feel like you say this as if I'm like some nail stamping expert, but I think I watched like 1 2-minute video just because you had talked about it and I wanted to see, and that was it. Like, I do not have experience with doing my nails other than one color polish and I'm done.
How can you say that when I have a bathroom with 500 different nail polishes in it and you can't even find stuff in drawers in there?
I can find stuff. I was trying to find stuff that I was okay with letting savages play with. There's a difference.
That's fair. Yeah. Refer back to...
Here's my first tip for this episode. If somebody who happens to be somebody you know and you have access to their nail polish, do not just go take their nail polish. Don't do it. Do not do it. You ask first.
You will die.
Some of that polish, you will die. You absolutely will die. Some people can be very specific. Like, do not just take random nail polish and go, why did you get mad at me? Well, because that was $20 a bottle and limited edition.
It was signed.
It's a limited edition.
But look, I made road stripes. Get out.
Get out before I hurt you.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so this technology is from the nail industry and extremely so. We knew going in from Jenny seeing it immediately going, oh my God, these are nail stamping plates.
It's not a bad thing,
No.
honestly. Like, I'm shocked that nobody has done this before, like, officially. You know, I'm sure somebody out there will be like, I did this before with my stuff, you know, and I used just random Amazon nail plates, but I'm just shocked that nobody's attempted to make this more official.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing was we ordered a bunch of the equivalents from a site called like Maniology or whatever.
It was what they recommended in their note you guys didn't read.
Oh, cool. But we ordered a bunch of nail polishes from there, some other stamping plates from there, and importantly, replacement stamp pads.
I was like, almost the most important aspect was new stamp pads that weren't destroyed.
So we ordered a bunch of those to see the competition and what the nail industry has that might be different. The answer is literally nothing, because they showed up and in our box opening moments, we realized it is literally the same objects. It is a difference of ink applied to the packaging.
Yeah, different logos.
Yeah, it is logos and different colors used. Like, that's it, which is not a bad thing. And realistically, it's the only way it could have been, like, just thinking about it from a manufacturing industry standpoint.
You're not going to redesign packaging that already works. Like, it's just not worth it.
And you're not going to have a completely unique production line making these stamp pads when they're already made for the nail industry. You're going to go pay the same factory that makes it for the nail industry to make these, because new production lines cost, I cannot explain this to people who do not deal with these numbers, but literal millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. An unobtainable number for any small business. So you're going to go use a factory that's already making this stuff. It was pretty obvious. The second we opened it, I was like, oh, of course, they're using the same factory.
Yeah, and I assume that that's why they recommended of like, hey, go to this place because it's going to be pretty similar. And like, so Brent and Casey have been pretty open with us about like, yeah, there's a lot of similarities going on with the nail industry stuff to what we're doing. It's basically the same. And it's like, all right, yeah, no, I see now.
So we ordered those and like, it's so identical. The stampers are the same. I literally just put the pads into the Goblin stampers and they worked fine. But we ordered some stamping plates too, which had, albeit more typical nail designs on them, but some of them were pretty awesome. Jenny already mentioned one earlier in the episode. There was one that has marbling, and we ordered some different colors of nail polish, including a gold one and some gold marbling over an area before you place your logo as a second stamp on top of it. God damn, does that improve how much work it looks like you did on this model.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we decided to treat these ones better.
I mean, not just better, correctly.
Yeah. So we followed all the instructions. And on round 2, the one where the footage with my mom doing her nails there, we all had to go with using the new stamping pads, treating them correctly, using 100% acetone like we were supposed to in the first place.
Opening them up, they were cleaned, so the plates were cleaned with a thing of acetone, 100% acetone, and the pads were all cleaned with water and soap and very gently handled, and then, like dabbed dry, not rubbed. Like, it was...
We even watched the 5-minute tutorial video.
Yeah.
It's shocking. But yeah, it was way easier after doing that. Basically, like we said before, watch the damn tutorials and listen to them. Really liked the results after that. We started testing the different nail polishes. They were all labeled as stamping nail polishes, which from what Jenny was saying is important.
Possibly.
So when you Google nail polish for stamping nails, they recommend it has to be like a 1-coat, really opaque polish. A lot of nail polish comes more sheer, like 2-3 coats to get the full coverage you want. You can't do this. I mean, maybe you could. On average, you're not going to do the same stamp directly on top of it with no movement at all 3 to 4 times to get the coverage you want.
Nah, it would look like ghosting, which, I mean, that could be an effect you would want, but...
You would have to be perfect with it, and that would be crazy. But they recommend, really thick, opaque. The pigment has to be, really saturated in there. It can't be, chunky glitter. It can't be sheer, because it won't... I guess it could if that's what you really wanted, but to get the expected results, you want, really thick, opaque, 1-coat nail polish.
Yeah, so we tried these out, and the vast majority of them actually worked perfectly. Some of them, I think, worked even better than the ones that came in the set they gave us from Goblin Hobbies. I don't think those were bad, but I think some of these were really nice. It's just they were also a bit more expensive. We'll get to prices in a bit.
Yeah, there's a couple things on that. Most of the nail polish ones that we got had a ball in it to shake.
Yes.
The ones from Goblin Hobbies didn't. That could have been part of it.
When we get to the things we want improved, that's on our list, by the way. But the nail polishes, by and large, worked perfect. Just make sure it's a stamping nail polish.
These really aren't that bad.
No, they're not the worst, but they are more expensive than we thought.
I guess I'm used to paying for nail polish.
Yeah.
This is half off what I usually pay. Damn.
The ones that really didn't work were the ones that we basically knew weren't gonna work or had no expectations of, the really holographic metal type stuff.
Yeah, that one didn't work, sadly. It was weird.
They show it working, on the website. I'm just wondering, what happened?
It could just be we need to try more and be better.
Yeah, I don't know, because it pulled off the plate perfectly every time, but then it would never pull off of the pad without Scotch tape. You could literally just roll it right over your hand right afterwards and it wouldn't do it. I don't know why it wasn't pulling away from the pad for that specific one nail polish. And it's a really cool effect because it's transparent holographic is the best way to describe it. It would have looked really sick to add a cool subtle effect to something, but we couldn't make it work.
Black polish laced with holographic glitters.
It looked great, other than we couldn't get it to go on the damn models.
And to be fair, we have not spent hundreds of hours trying to figure all this stuff out. We're not experts.
Yeah, these are day one experiments. The other one is orange, absolutely ass, but orange is always a notoriously bad color. I'm just going to tell you, if a color is notoriously bad in most paint ranges, nail polish is not magically different. I'm sure they're using the exact same pigments with the exact same problems as every other paint range. So orange is going to just suck when you want a 1-coat solution.
We did pick, the brightest orange possible, too.
Yeah.
It might just be that you need to try a few of them. That is the one thing that Goblin Hobbies ones are these work essentially. It's not I wonder which brand of nail polish will be perfect because there's so many options. It's just overwhelming.
But everyone we ordered from that site seemed fine other than 1 or 2. So there's always stinker paints you end up buying even in normal hobby. You've had the ones where you use it once and you're nope, this is going on the shelf for forever. I'll just end on this note. Explain this to me, liberals. If painting your nails is only for girls, why is it called maniology? I thought of that joke 2 weeks ago and I've had it in my head this whole time going, this is for the episode.
Because girls get it and then it becomes man I cure.
Wow.
She can cure him.
Got him. I can fix him. No, really, I can.
I can cure him.
Look at these nails.
So let's talk about price.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been talking just generally, but at the end of the day, money matters.
Yeah, this shit costs money to everybody except us. We got it for free. Except for all the nail shit. That cost a lot.
Except for all of the paints, which cost as much as everything else would have. Like,
We're really bad at this shit. You ever notice that?
I refer back to the time we fucked up.
For the prices for the Goblin Hobbies stuff, their starter set that comes with the 2 plates, the 2 paints, and the round stamper is $50.
Does it come with 2 plates or 2 specific plates?
2 specific plates, sorry. The plates the starter set comes with are Heraldry 001 and Squad Marking 001. They have like all of the basic shapes / numbers that you're probably going to want at a base level, and then all the other ones are for themed stuff. Like, a lot of them are really good and they will tempt you.
And then on their like release launch day and for the immediate future, they're going to also release an everything bundle. And that's just the starter, the rest of the plates, which is 8 more, 2 additional paints, and then a couple minis. So I think the 2 mascot goblins and maybe some shields or something like that. Everything else. That's basically like what we got, minus a few things here and there. But that one's going to be $185, I think.
Yes.
I'm not certain that they're fully locked in, but that's what we've been told at the moment.
And then the individual plates are not being sold at launch. They're waiting until they get the original orders out of the way. Then they'll be selling plates individually. Those will be $16 each. Again, that is currently what we're told. We don't know if that will be the final price. These numbers are realistic from what we were looking at. I don't have issue with them after checking things. To put this in perspective, the exact same plates for the nails industry, a lot of them actually have less shit on them on the nails one. If you go look at the Maniology website for an example, those are $8 a plate.
They're a lot less dense. There's a lot less to it, which sometimes can help, honestly, but you know, it's not quite the same value.
And those stamping nail polishes on like the Maniology website are $7 a pop. So they aren't selling, to my knowledge, the individual inks, nail polishes, whatever they want to call it, on Goblin Hobby side. But if we value those at like even $5, then these start racking up to being good deals on the Goblin Hobby side. Plates being about double for the hobby specific ones versus the nail ones. Again, there's more shit on the hobby specific ones. I'm saying that's a fair amount of money to ask for it, especially when you compare it to like, how much does it cost for a single sheet of decals that you eat up every time you use them? It's like a couple bucks. It's like, and you're going to use like 8 of those symbols, because I've done decal sheets before, and you know that most of that sheet is useless to you, and you want this one fucking row of decals.
You just want those couple, yeah. It's like that.
But yeah, these prices seemed pretty fair. I'm not really against the prices on these.
No, I mean, I think they're, you know, a little bit inflated from your generic nail stuff, but like, that's okay. Like, these are specifically for a niche hobby. You don't have quite the scale expected of just the more generic nail stuff. So totally understandable.
Yeah, and honestly, it could be worse. When Eric and I were evil businessmanning this, we were theorizing prices, right? And we're like, $15, probably a good plate price. And then we were like, but it's for Warhammer people, and they're really dumb and spend a lot of money on plastic toys. I'm saying this as one, by the way.
Self-report.
100%.
So maybe you charge them $30.
Yeah, it was like, we could probably get 30, but like, you'd sell it for like 25, maybe a couple less, and like, or you'd like put it up for 30 and mark it down, you know?
It's on sale for 25, yeah.
We're Kohl's, it's always on sale. Yeah, so like, these are reasonable. I mean, obviously, you know, it's one of those where it'd be like, oh, it would be great if it was as cheap as possible or free, but like, wouldn't that be great?
So that gives you the final price, in addition to everything else we've said, to make your own personal judgments, but we'll get into our own verdicts.
I just want to bring up that like, you can get custom plates designed and like engraved for like not that much money.
I completely forgot about this. Thank you for bringing it up.
But like, your mileage may vary on the quality of the product you get.
Yeah, but this gets back into my decal discussion when I said the only thing decals have is the IP defense. I'm just saying, if you needed a very specific design that you legally
absolutely
own the intellectual property of said design, then you could probably find some Chinese guy on a random Alibaba Alibaba website or whatever, who for $35 will not care to check that you own that design and will get it on a plate for you. But again, that's a like minor addition thing, but it does also show that like these are well under the price of custom making your own plate to begin with. So if you want to put in all that work and pay more, you could get a custom plate of whatever quality.
Well, and that's the thing is like you could probably save a bit of money by having like the custom plate have only the designs that you want and not any like extras that would be for other armies, and you're just like, I just need this one plate and then I'm good. But you have to kind of roll the dice on the quality there. So far, everything that I've seen from Goblin Hobbies has been pretty good. The nail ones were generally pretty good, but there was some scratches here and there. Nothing that would like impede any of like, they'll work perfectly fine. It's all surface scratch kind of stuff, but like to each their own at that aspect, but it is a possibility that you could do.
Yeah. So for things we'd like to see on Goblin Hobbies end to improve them for the future.
Well, I mean, there's the obvious one about stop people from doing what we did.
And props to the nail industry. When we opened up the Maniology packaging, the first thing I noticed was one of the things I told Brent on like our first feedback of the packaging has to like literally warn you in the package you are opening not to do things. It did that. Like it says right on the stamping pad packaging, like, do not get acetone on this. It will eat it.
It's on like the back of the actual box that it's in.
Yeah, the bag told you to use soap and water to clean it once to get off the release age. I'm like, I am sure the nail industry probably is much, much larger than what Goblin Hobbies is going to have day one. If not, props to you guys. So I'm sure they've had these complaints over the years, and that's why it got on the packaging, and I was more vindicated than anything that I saw it there, and I'm like, aha. So getting some warnings on the packaging for people who refuse to read the goddamn instructions.
Yeah, it's not going to happen on this initial release. It'd be cool if they were able to do it for, Rev 2 or whatever. So if you're getting these, just a, word of warning kind of thing, it's probably not there, but hopefully they're able to update it in the future.
This next one is a bit of a no-win scenario for them. I'm just pointing it out as it's a flaw overall that doesn't have a real good solution. The designs are very tightly packed on the plates, so when you roll your stamper over them, you are like almost always getting part of another design or several of them. And the Scotch tape removes it fine, and it's a thing we had no issue with once we started doing it.
And it was kind of one of those benefits of like, yeah, it's more dense. It has more designs for you to choose from. It's better value, right? But it's also kind of a pain in the ass.
That's what makes this one a catch-22 is like, oh, I want it less dense so I don't have to do as much cleaning during the process. But then you're going to bitch that there's less designs on it, and now you have to buy more plates to get all the designs you wanted.
I think that there are a couple plates that have like, at least like certain sections that are probably a little too dense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get their smaller designs, but like it's just difficult. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job of balancing that aspect. And I mean, it's a similar thing, like they've got a bunch of plates out, but there's still so many symbols and designs that they could add.
Yeah, we asked my mom to like say a design and see if it was there, and she asked for a lion, and we showed her the medieval lion they had, and she's like, no, I meant like a lion's face. And it's like, it's that easy to request something and not get the right thing. So I will give this warning to our audience who may be giving feedback as they start using these if they end up buying them. If you're going to make requests for future editions, which I'm sure most people will, I'm sure many people are going to want to be like, hey guys, I would love to see this design added on a future plate. Do yourself and them a favor. Just take 3 minutes in Microsoft Paint or whatever, or grab a picture off Google Images if it's like a symbol close to one that you know, and add it there so that they get contextually what you mean when you say you want more Egyptian iconography.
Right, because there's like, that's thousands of possibilities.
Yeah, I do want more Egyptian iconography, but I'm going to have to show them like exact types of things I'm thinking.
But also, like, when you submit your ideas, which is great, understand that that doesn't mean it's going to happen, because everybody wants a thing, which might be completely different.
And as guys from the manufacturing industry, we can also tell you it's not going to happen quick, even if it's about to happen.
No, we're a while away before anything, I expect. expect, unless they've already like planned.
Spoilers, I know what the cars releasing in 2027 are.
Yeah. One of the other things that I had brought up earlier was in the paint or the nail polish or whatever, there's no like ball to like help shake it up.
Yes, that was one that we noticed when we started using the nail polish company ones, was it was way easier to mix them up.
Because like it's thick, probably won't separate quickly, but at the same time, once it starts, it's going to be that much more difficult to like properly mix it back up essentially.
Yeah, and this is one that I will slight. Literally any paint company not putting balls in the paint thing, like you have to be doing that. Come on.
Yeah, like maybe there are some pigments out there that it's like for this very specific chemical makeup reason we can't, and it's like, all right, fine, whatever. But the vast majority are perfectly fine, and you should be doing it.
There's one last funny one, and they actually pointed this out on their own video, which is how we even noticed it was a thing.
Yeah, I enjoy this one.
The stickers for the logos and stuff on the paints are all black.
Yeah, they look nice. They're really clean. The red, ooh, that looks great.
It pops. It looks really nice. We didn't realize that the black one also has a sticker on it. Oops.
Yeah, it's got that like default generic look, and you're like, oh, this one's the odd one out. I wonder what happened. Oh, this isn't just because we got like a test version. They have a sticker on it.
Just think of it this way. If you get one that's black on black, now you have the limited edition, first edition, special run.
Very true.
It's like a beta Black Lotus.
Yes. Ooh. Gonna have to get it graded.
All right. Is there anything else like for future stuff that we think specifically could use improvement?
No, I think that's basically it. I mean, like I said, we haven't put, that much time into this. Like, we're still pretty new. These are our like initial feedback. These are things that we would like to see. Once we've used them a lot more, maybe there'll be a couple more things, but overall, pretty good.
All right. So, final verdicts. Jenny, what are your thoughts on these?
I liked these. I could see using them. I enjoyed them. They were super easy. I don't have like super strong opinions on these. I mean, I liked them. I could see using them. Their specific plates maybe are not for me specifically, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who would be really appreciative of being able to copy paste their logo onto a million shoulder pads. But the idea of it is super cool.
Are you planning on starting to stamp your nails?
Yes, I'm going to go around with chaos nails just everywhere all the time.
I mean, that's actually kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
The way you said that probably means that you're being ironic.
It sounded sarcastic. I don't get it.
Well, I would have to take the plate from you guys.
All right, Eric, what's your verdict for these?
I'm generally a big fan of the tech. I think it does a great job of opening up the possibilities of adding designs to your models, which let you add that like extra flair while also like making sure that the army feels cohesive. And I've said it, I hate decals. They're so awful, dude.
I have never attempted to use decals, but every single person I have ever heard talk about them hates them.
They are, at their best, they are usable. At their worst, you want to throw them.
You want to break your model.
Like in every YouTube video and everything we've had on, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say decals are awesome.
No.
Vince would say decals are awesome.
Yes, and like freehand's just obviously not going to happen. So like the fact that this stamping tech is a possibility and is like actually coming into the hobby is great. Whether you should buy it from Goblin Hobbies as this like starter kit or the full bundle or the everything or whatever it's called, dude, I don't know. It's that's a solid chunk of money to buy all at once, especially when you could buy some of the individual ones for pretty cheap from generic nail stuff just to test it out. I would say it all depends on what your budget is and how prone you are to just randomly buying hobby stuff. Or I think this would be a great idea as a gift for a hobbyist to get the Goblin Hobbies starter. I think that's just a perfect kind of thing.
You know that guilty meme? That's Brad right now.
If you're prone to spending money on hobbies.
Listening to Eric talk, Brad's like,
So I've got my own verdict. Thank you.
All right, what do you got?
I'm going to break it into 3 categories. Category 1, you don't have a use for these. You've never felt the want to use a decal before anyway. I doubt this is going to change your mind. They're not magic or anything. If your only army is Tyranids, I don't know what you're going to want to tattoo on your bugs. Like, it's okay to not buy something you have no need for. That concept's alien to me, but it's a thing. Category 2, if you've got a specific project or army in mind, and like, you're not one to constantly impulse purchase all the hobby stuff that exists, I'm going to tell you to wait until plates are sold separately and just buy the ones that you want for your project. There's no reason you need the legally distinct orc plate or the legally distinct chaos plate if you've just got like a bunch of ultramarine shoulder pads to do.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable.
Those blank shoulder pads, they aren't going anywhere anyway. You can just wait and then finish the shoulder pads once they're sold separately.
Yeah, and then just pick up that plate individually and then some nail polish and you're good to go.
Category 3, if you own multiple armies anyway, you always buy all the new hobby tools and paints on a whim every time, then you didn't even need this video. You already ordered the full set. You probably are already window shopping on one of the nail websites for nail polishes. And honestly, I think you're going to be pretty happy with your purchase. As long as you listen to the warnings, they're not magic. You have to learn how to use them. They're not that difficult, but you have to like pay attention, watch a tutorial, be careful with how you treat it, make sure you have the right stuff when you sit down to use them. As long as that's the case, thumbs up, you're going to love it. Also, given your infinite pockets, gentle reminder, we have a Patreon. I'm just saying, it keeps the lights on over here.
Apparently not the internet.
Doot 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 doot. Mana doot 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 doot. You lost internet too?
No, just you.
Wow, that's weird. I'm connected to the fucking router.
If you're in a buying mood, we've also got merch.
Oh man, Eric's going full shill.
Hey, if we're gonna do it.
While we're here, you made it all the way through the episode, and by my calculations, we should have just hit 150k, or we're literally like 100 subscribers away. Double check you're subscribed. I've got a sweet episode idea for 150k. But on that note, I think we've beaten this to death. We've turned a simple review into an hour-plus long episode. I hope people actually found this useful and figured out if they want it or which ones they want and all that. Maybe you learned something about how other industries can lead to benefit in your hobbying.
Hopefully you enjoyed our story about how we originally tried to abuse all of these tools.
If you've got a significant other who enjoys nails and you don't, now you have some common ground you can talk about some stuff with.
Yeah, it's wild when hobbies sometimes collide.
But anyway, that does it for us this week. It's time for us to get out of here.
Sounds good.